At a number 10 spot, we have the skunk ape. Known as Florida's own Bigfoot, the infamous skunk ape is said to inhabit their forests and swamps. The skunk ape is described as being bipedal, 5 to 7 feet tall with reddish brown hair all around its body. Sightings of this creature started all the way back in 1818 when local Florida newspapers spoke of a quote man-sized monkey. This creature was sabotaging food stores and following fishermen along the shorelines. Then in 1942, another man reported a similar creature that was running at his vehicle while he was driving on an isolated road. He claimed the creature attacked his car for a little bit before returning back into the woods. And even on July 8, 2000, a YouTuber posted daytime footage of this creature. But you guys can be the judge from the footage. At a number 9 spot, we have Almas of Mongolia. Hidden away in the Altai Mountains of western Mongolia is a creature known as the Almas. They are also considered the wild men of Mongolia, but they're not your typical humans. Although they're around 5 to 6 feet tall, they weigh as much as 600 pounds, and they're covered in complete thick fur that covers all of their skin. Those who have seen this creature up front have mentioned that it has the face of a Neanderthal, since it has a large forehead ridge and a really flat, wide nose. The sightings of this creature date back to the 1400s when a Bavarian prisoner claimed to see 2 of these Almas being presented as gifts to the Khan regime. Then in 1871, Russian explorer Nikolai Przewalski spotted one, claiming it to be a man-beast covered in thick black fur with enormous claws. Search parties have gone out to find if this creature really inhabited the mountains of Mongolia, but nothing significant has been found. However, some scientists believe it could be a relic population of Neanderthals who have been up in the mountains ever since, but who really knows other than the people who actually live in Mongolia. At number 8 spot, we have Barmanu of Pakistan. In northern Pakistan, shepherds living in the mountains have spoken about a creature that possesses both human and ape-like characteristics, giving it the title the Bigfoot of Pakistan. The Barmanu, which translates to big creature, is a bipedal primate that is known to abduct women and attempt to mate with them. Those who have encountered one have told about its horrifying screams, and they claim it sounds like a woman screamed if she was in extreme agony. Then in 1987, a Spanish scientist named Jordi Magraner arrived in Pakistan in search of this beast, and after a 19-month study, he was convinced that the beast was indeed out there, despite not getting any sort of solid evidence. I really don't know how that works. This led him to a 15-year search for the creature, but in the summer of 2002, he was found dead with a slit throat near the area. The case ended up going cold, and the mystery of this creature has prolonged ever since. At a number 7 spot, we have the albatwitch. In the forests of Columbia, Pennsylvania is a 4-foot tall hairy creature known as the albatwitch. Their name is just short for apple snitch, since they are known to be snatching apples left and right. People who walk near along the Susquehanna River claim to have these small creatures violently throw apples at them to push them away from their homes. Their homes are said to be in the treetops where they would only come down to gather apples. These hairy humanoids are often mistaken as Bigfoot children, since they are also reported around the area as well. And the sightings of these guys date all the way back to Native American mythology, where they used to depict these ape-like creatures on these war shields for protection. Despite the fact that these creatures are not likely to cause death, getting apples thrown at you aggressively doesn't sound too appealing either. At number 6 spot, we have the Chautauqua monster. This is basically Mississippi's Bigfoot. So according to Pike County legend, a circus train was going through the old Illinois Central Railroad, and in a sudden twist of events, it derailed in the swamps near Chautauqua. Except this circus was not like any regular circus. It apparently had many strange critters and creatures on board. One of them being a half man and half ape hybrid, which appeared as a large hairy creature. The creature was very hostile and would attack any person or animal that got close to it. So a search party was quickly put together to recapture this beast, but they left empty-handed and the monster was never seen again. Many people who claim to see Bigfoot could be mistaken for this creature, but who knows? It could just be some 7-foot tall hairy guy minding his own business, but apparently if you go to the swamps near Chautauqua, you might catch a glimpse of these ape-like creatures. In the hump for our list, we have the Bukit Timah monkey man of Singapore. In the Bukit Timah region of Singapore, there is a forest-dwelling primate covered from head to toe in gray hair. Sightings of this creature are exceedingly rare, but they all seem to happen in the dead of night. The first account of the Bukit Timah Monkey Man was from an elder back in 1805. He recalled seeing an ape-like creature walking upright in the Bukit Timah region. But it wasn't until World War II when sightings of this creature skyrocketed. Many Japanese soldiers stationed in Singapore will report a gray primate-like creature standing almost up to 7 feet tall in the rainforest. Sightings of this creature come and go, but the good thing about it is that it doesn't seem to be aggressive or anything. Instead, it just kind of stands there, looking at you menacingly. At a number 4 spot with the Minerva Monster. Ohio has been having sightings of Bigfoot for the past 75 years, so at this point, if you're walking in the woods and see a giant ape, it wouldn't really be a surprise. But there was one case that kickstarted the whole Bigfoot hype all those years ago, and this is the case of the Minerva Monster. Sightings began in 1942 when locals reported an ape-like monster in Minerva, Ohio, and the concern for this monster only grew when a group of teenagers randomly disappeared in the forest near the area. The case of this monster was brought up to the public's attention when local resident Hal Caden told the story of encountering the Minerva monster himself. It began in August of 1978 when Caden and his friends were sitting on the back porch of their home. When they're all sitting and talking, they began to hear strange noises near the chicken coop of their home. When they looked towards that direction, all they could find is 2 pairs of yellow eyes staring right at them. One of the friends decided to turn on their vehicle headlights, and they described a creature 7 feet tall with quote-unquote black and brown matted hair that covered its head and face. Number 3, Murfreesboro Mud Monster. In 1973, a young couple went for a romantic late night drive in the town of Murfreesboro, Illinois. Only after a few minutes of driving, they decided to park near a river when all of a sudden they heard a shrieking noise that could only be described as an eagle shrieking in a microphone. They soon scanned the area and heard another loud shriek. They looked in the direction it came from and noticed a bush that was shaking. Then they saw the mud monster and described it as a 7 feet tall, thick fur with a footprint closely resembling that of Bigfoot's. This monster kept terrorizing the town for weeks. Then out of the blue, it just disappeared, leaving the town in peace all of a sudden. At a number 2 spot with the Mogollon Monster. This beast is also known as Arizona's Bigfoot, and as you can see from the photos, you can probably see why. This monster is said to live on the Mogollon Rim, which is a steep cliff that runs 200 miles from eastern Arizona to New Mexico. The monster is also spotted within the Ponderosa pine forest as well. Those who have spotted it have said it stood 8 feet tall, covered in hair and fur, and walked upright. The same people who saw it also noted how territorial and how violent they can be. It's said that if you smell rotting fish, then the Mogollon Monster is nearby. So when that happens, be sure to dip straight out of the area. Similar to Bigfoot, there has been countless sightings and other forms of questionable evidence. All the way at a number 1 spot with the Flintville Monster. During the 1970s, a creature described to be like Bigfoot was terrorizing the people of Flintville, Tennessee. The monster would come out of forests and begin to slaughter people's livestock, abduct children, and even go after people's vehicles. The first sighting was in April 1976 when a woman decided to call the cops and report that a 7 to 8 feet tall hairy creature had come out of the forest, came straight to her car, pulled the radio antennas off, then jumped on top of the vehicle aggressively. This story would kickstart the legend of the Flintville Monster, and many other people would come out to report their own experiences with this creature. Shortly after this, a mother claimed to see the beast run towards her son who was playing in the field. She came up just in time to get her children out of the way and run back home and call the cops. When the cops arrived, they didn't find the creature, but instead they found these 16-inch footprints and blood all around them.
Number 10, the Stanley Hotel. The Stanley Hotel is known for its purported haunted history and paranormal activity, as well as being the inspiration for Stephen King's novel The Shining. Some of the reported paranormal experiences at the Stanley Hotel include ghostly apparitions. Guests and staff have reported seeing ghostly figures and apparitions throughout the hotel, including a phantom housekeeper who still tends to room 217. Visitors have reported hearing unexplained sounds such as people giggling, ghostly laughter, and footsteps in the halls when no one else is around. Guests have reported objects moving on their own, including doors opening and closing, lights turning on and off, and the sound of furniture being moved. Some visitors have reported feeling sudden drops in temperature or being in a particular area of the hotel that is unusually cold, even though the thermostat shows a normal temperature. Some guests have reported smelling unexplained scents, such as the smell of cigar smoke or perfume, when there is no logical source for the odor. Some guests have reported experiencing flickering lights, electrical disturbances, and equipment malfunctions that cannot be explained by natural causes. While some people claim to have had paranormal experiences at the Stanley Hotel, others have reported having a peaceful and uneventful stay. It's up to each individual to decide whether they believe in the hotel's haunted history or not. Number 9. Eastern State Penitentiary. Eastern State Penitentiary is a former prison in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania that is now a museum. Over the years, visitors and staff have reported experiencing paranormal activity within the walls. Some of the reported experiences at Eastern State Penitentiary include some visitors have reported seeing shadowy figures moving along the walls and corridors of the prison. Many people have reported hearing unexplained sounds and voices, including footsteps, whispers, and screams. Visitors have also reported sudden drops in temperature in certain areas of the prison, even when it is not particularly cold outside. Some visitors have reported seeing cell doors open and close on their own. Visitors have reported experiencing strange smells that they cannot identify, such as the smell of burning, sulfur, or rotting flesh. Some visitors have reported feeling like they are being touched or pushed by an unseen force, or feeling a sense of unease or foreboding. It's worth noting that some people who have visited Eastern State Penitentiary have not experienced anything paranormal or unusual. However, others believe that the prison's violent history and the suffering of its inmates may have had a lingering effect that can still be felt today. Number 8. The Myrtles Plantation. Myrtles is a historic plantation located in St. Francisville, Louisiana, that is said to be one of America's most haunted houses. Visitors to the plantation have reported a variety of eerie experiences that seem to suggest the presence of ghostly activity. Many people have reported hearing the sound of footsteps walking across the floors of the plantation, even when there is no one else around. Some people reported seeing objects move on their own, including doors that open and close by themselves and chairs that seem to slide across the floor. Several ghostly apparitions have been reported at the Myrtles Plantation, including the ghost of a former owner who has been seen wandering the grounds. Visitors have reported experiencing strange smells that seem to come out of nowhere, like perfume and cigar smoke. Some people have reported hearing the sound of music coming from the empty piano in the plantation's main room. Number 7. The Queen Mary. The Queen Mary is a retired ocean liner that is now a hotel and museum in Long Beach, California. The ship has a long and storied history, including serving as a troop ship during WW2, and many people believe that it is also home to several ghosts and other supernatural phenomena. Many people have heard ghostly singing of a young woman in the first-class pool area of the ship. Visitors to the Queen Mary's engine room have reported seeing ghostly apparitions of the crew members who once worked there, including one man who appears to be covered in oil. Several guests have reported seeing the ghostly apparitions of that man and a woman in 1930s clothing, walking arm in arm down the ship's promenade deck. Many people have reported seeing orbs and light floating around the ship, especially in the areas where paranormal activity is said to be the most prevalent. Some guests have reported a feeling of a ghostly tug on their clothing or hair, as if someone is trying to get their attention. While some people remain skeptical about the reported paranormal activity on the Queen Mary, many others believe that the ship is a hotbed of supernatural phenomena, and it continues to attract ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts from around the world. Number 6. The Winchester Mystery House. The Winchester Mystery House is a sprawling mansion located in San Jose, California that was built by the widow of William Wirt Winchester, the heir to the Winchester rifle fortune. Over the years, visitors to the mansion have reported a variety of strange and unexplained experiences. One of the most unique features of the Winchester Mystery House is its seemingly endless construction. The mansion contains countless winding hallways, secret passages, and rooms that seem to serve no purpose, leading some visitors to speculate that the construction was designed to confuse or confound any spirits that might be haunting the property. Some visitors have reported seeing doors that open to reveal nothing but a sheer drop or a solid wall, leading some to speculate that they were designed to trap any ghosts or spirits that might be lurking. Many people have reported hearing strange noises in the mansion, including footsteps, voices, and banging sounds. Number 5. The Bell Witch Cave. Bell Witch Cave is a natural cave located in Adams, Tennessee, that is famous for its association with the Bell Witch, a legendary spirit that is said to have haunted the Bell family in the early 19th century. Visitors to the cave and surrounding area have reported a variety of strange experiences. Many visitors to the Bell Witch Cave have reported hearing disembodied voices and whispers in the darkness. Some visitors have reported feeling a strange energy or presence in the cave, as if someone or something is watching them. Some people have reported feeling an unseen force touching them or brushing past them in the cave. Visitors have reported seeing objects move on their own in the cave, including rocks and other debris. The Bell Witch is said to haunt not just the cave, but also the surrounding area, with some visitors reporting strange occurrences such as unexplained lights and sightings of ghostly apparitions. While some people remain skeptical of the legend of the Bell Witch, others believe that the experiences reported by visitors to the Bell Witch Cave are evidence of supernatural activity, and the cave continues to attract ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts from around the world. Number 4. The Lizzie Borden House in Fall River, Massachusetts. The Lizzie Borden House is a historic bed and breakfast that was once the site of a gruesome double execution. Andrew and Abby Borden, Lizzie's father and stepmother, were brutally ended with a hatchet in the house in 1892. Visitors to the Lizzie Borden House have reported a variety of strange and unexplained experiences. Some visitors have reported feeling as though they are being watched by an unseen presence, particularly in the upstairs bedrooms where the executions took place. Several apparitions have been spotted at the Lizzie Borden house, including the apparition of a woman in Victorian clothing and the apparition of a man with a mustache. Many people have reported hearing strange noises in the house, including footsteps, knocking sounds, and the sound of doors opening and closing. Some people have felt a cold, clammy hand on their shoulder or a brush of hair against their cheek. Number 3. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Once known as the Weston State Hospital, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum stands tall as a grim reminder of the past. It was built in the mid-1800s to house patients with mental illness, but over time it became known for its overcrowding, understaffing, and the cruel treatments administered to patients. As the years passed, the asylum's conditions deteriorated and it became a place of horror and despair. Patients were subjected to inhumane treatments such as electroshock therapy, lobotomies, and hydrotherapy, which involved forcibly submerging patients in ice-cold water. The overcrowded and understaffed conditions led to many patients being neglected, left to suffer in filth and squalor. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum was a place of immense suffering, and it's no surprise that it has become one of the most haunted places in America. Visitors to the asylum have reported a variety of strange experiences, including unexplained noises, ghostly apparitions, and the feeling of being watched by unseen entities. Some of the most famous ghosts said to haunt the asylum include the spirit of a young woman named Lily, who is said to have passed away in the asylum after being admitted for her immoral character, and the spirit of a former patient named Ruth, who is said to have been chained to a wall and left to pass away. Despite its dark past, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is now open to the public, and visitors can take guided tours of the asylum's abandoned wards and learn about its history. But be warned, many visitors report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread and unease as they explore the asylum, and some say they have encountered the spirits of former patients still trapped within its walls. Number 2. The Whaley House. The Whaley House in San Diego, California is an architectural marvel, but it also has a dark history. The home was built in 1857 by Thomas Whaley, a successful businessman, and his wife Anna. The house was built on the site of a former gallows where criminals were hanged in the early days of San Diego. Over the years, the Whaley family experienced a series of tragedies that left them haunted by the ghosts of their past. One of the most tragic events occurred in 1871, when the Whaleys' son, Thomas Jr., passed away. The family also suffered financial setbacks, and their son-in-law took their own life in the house. Today, the Whaley House is said to be one of the most haunted places in America. Visitors have reported hearing strange noises and feeling the presence of unseen entities. Many believe that the ghosts of the Whaleys and those who are executed on the gallows still linger within the house. Number 1. The Villisca Axe House. The Villisca Axe House in Iowa has a history that is shrouded in mystery and tragedy. Built in 1892, the house was once a place of happiness and joy for the Moore family, who are well-respected members of the community. But something happened within its walls that forever changed the fate of the house. Over the years, the house has become known for its paranormal activity, with many visitors reporting strange experiences and ghostly apparitions. Some say that they have seen spirits of people playing in the house, while others have heard unexplained noises and felt an eerie presence within its walls. Despite its dark past, the Villisca Axe House has been restored to its former glory and is now open to the public for tours. Visitors can explore the beautiful Victorian home and learn about its history, from the happy times of the Moore family to the tragic events that occurred within its walls. While the house may be haunted by the memories of the past, it is also a place of beauty and wonder, a testament to the rich history of Villisca and the families who once called the house their home. It's a place where visitors can step back in time and experience the joys and sorrows of a bygone era, a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the power of hope in the face of tragedy.
Number 10. The Black Volga. The Black Volga is an urban legend that has captivated audiences for decades. The legend refers to a mysterious black or red GA721 or GA724 car that was allegedly used to abduct and murder people in the 1960s and 70s in countries like Poland, Romania, Hungary, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, Greece, and Mongolia. The car is described as having white wheel rims, white curtains, or other white elements, which only adds to its eerie appearance. According to different versions of the legend, the car was driven by various nefarious characters. These included communist secret police, Russian mafia, and Satanists. And then there are some who say Satan himself drove it. The motives for the abductions and murders vary as well, with some versions stating that the victims were kidnapped and murdered for their blood, which was supposedly used as a cure for rich Westerners or Arabs suffering from leukemia. The legend of the Black Volga has become so ingrained in popular culture that it has spawned variations such as the car having horns instead of wing mirrors, the number 666 on the license plate, and even the driver asking for the time and killing the person who approaches the car to answer this question. But luckily, there's also an effective defense method for this. So they say whenever the driver of the Volga asks what time is it, you should just answer it's God's time. Then the car would just quickly vanish. Number 9, the Felixstowe Fire Demon. The Felixstowe Fire Demon sighting was an extraterrestrial sighting that took place in Felixstowe, England in 1965. The group that saw it consisted of the driver, 25-year-old Jeffrey Maskey, and his passengers, Mavis Fordyce and Michael Johnson. They were driving along an isolated tree-lined avenue when they decided to pull over to preserve gas. As they engaged in conversation, Johnson suddenly opened the car door and walked out into the murky night. Fordyce and Maskey exchanged perplexed glances as their companion vanished into the darkness, but simply assumed he had gone to use the bathroom in the woods. Just moments after Johnson disappeared, Fordyce and Maskey heard a strange high-pitched humming sound. Fordyce grew anxious as the disconcerting sound became louder, and Maskey leaned out the window to try and find the origin of the noise. It was then that he saw an oval-shaped orange object suspended in the sky above his car. Maskey estimated that the UFO was about 6 foot wide, and both he and Fordyce claimed that it was glowing so brightly that it glowed the surrounding countryside in an eerie orange glow. The following day, Johnson recovered his senses and told his friends and doctors of his harrowing encounter with an alien entity in the woods. He claimed that when he abruptly got out of the car the night before, he was compelled to do so by an unknown force, which insisted that he go into the woods. Johnson walked into the dark forest where he encountered a humanoid being with large sloping eyes that were glowing in the darkness. He also claimed that the creature was engulfed by an orange flame, and it was at that point that he just blacked out. Number 8, the Blood Countess. Dubbed the most prolific female murderer by Guinness World Records, Countess Elizabeth Bathory was infamous for her dark, gruesome truth. Born into a noble Hungarian family in 1560 or 1561, they don't really know the date, Bathory descended from multiple noble lineages and included the King of Poland and the Prince of Transylvania among her relatives. It is thought that her parents were both close relatives, and that this may have been the source of a number of health problems that she experienced as a child, such as severe epileptic seizures. After she got married at 15 years old with Ferenc Nadasti, rumors began to circulate about her atrocities. Between 1602 and 1604, the rumors about Bathory's crimes became impossible for the authorities to ignore. Lutheran minister Istvan Magyari made complaints about her both publicly and at the court in Vienna, but it took until 1610 for King Matthias II to assign 2 notaries, Andras Karesturi and Moses Reiki, to collect evidence on the charges made against her. The evidence that was collected revealed that the girls as young as 10 were being abducted by Bathory, beaten severely, and mutilated before freezing or starving to death. Some girls were allegedly burned with hot tongs, and others had parts of their face bitten off. As a result, Bathory was arrested and imprisoned for life, where she died 4 years later. The true story of Bathory is a complex and disturbing tale of a woman who committed horrific crimes against innocent girls. And while the vampire and blood-bathing legends may make for a sensational story, the truth is terrifying on its own. Number 7, the Black Monk of Pontefract. The Black Monk of Pontefract is a legend that has been passed down through history, detailing a supposed poltergeist haunting that took place in the late 1960s and early 70s in a home in the town of Pontefract, England. The home belonged to a family by the name of Pritchard, who claimed to have experienced a series of terrifying and inexplicable disturbances from the moment they moved in. The disturbances began with small occurrences such as a gust of cold wind and a strange white powder falling from the air. However, as time went on, the disturbances became increasingly intense and more terrifying. Puddles of water began appearing on the kitchen floor, and even a plumber was unable to offer an explanation for this. The family reported hearing loud crashing sounds and seeing objects move or disappear, and they even claimed that a heavy chest of drawers began to sway on its own. The disturbances were so intense that at one point, the family was forced to flee the home and sleep at a neighbor's house out of fear alone. Even when they returned, the disturbances continued, with the family's daughter Diane being thrown from her bed and dragged up the stairs by an invisible invisible force. The family even claimed that after they sprinkled holy water across the home, the poltergeist responded by painting upside down crosses on the living room walls and doors and destroying crucifixes wherever they were. The Pritchards also claimed that a black cloak figure with a cowl over its head appeared over their bed, and they attributed this to the poltergeist, but it is not confirmed. Number 6, the Spring-Heeled Jack. Spring-Heeled Jack is a legendary figure from Victorian England who is said to be a fire-breathing devil man who could jump unnaturally high. The legend of Spring-Heeled Jack first started to appear in 1837, where residents of a London neighborhood began to report bizarre attacks from a figure described as a ghost, imp, or devil in the shape of a large white bull. The figure mainly targeted women, ringing their doorbells, and when they answered, it would ravage their clothes with its claws. Other sightings have him simply ambushing people who were out walking. The figure was also described as wearing red shoes or armor, and despite the skepticism from the press, the legend of the Spring-Heeled Jack continued to grow. It grew so much that the Lord Mayor of London even addressed the growing number of stories, bringing up the theory that the attacks were perpetuated by a group of wealthy individuals. Some believe that it was a group of wealthy men dressing up and scaring people on a bet. However, the true nature of Spring-Heeled Jack still remains a mystery, and as of today, there is no evidence of what this person may have been. In the hump of our list, we have the Beast of Gévaudan. In the 1760s, a terrifying creature known as the Beast began killing nearly 300 people in a remote region of south-central France called the Gévaudan. The Beast was thought to be a huge animal, but its reputation grew to be much more sinister. Reports stated that it preferred attacking women and children, and that it would remove the victim's head and drink all of their blood, leaving nothing behind but a pile of bones. Illustrators had a field day representing the Beast, with many emphasizing its goriness and preference for found victims. The attacks in Gévaudan created widespread fear to the point that King Louis intervened, offering a reward for its capture. Despite the efforts of hunters, a dragoon captain, and even professional wolf stalkers, the beast was not captured until September 1765 by Francois Antoine. And even then, the attacks continued. Supernatural explanations of the attack continued to circulate, with some believing it to be the work of werewolves, but most historians now agree that the Gévaudan beast was most likely a pack of large wolves. The legend of the beast still holds a certain level of creep factor, making it a truly terrifying urban legend from France. Number 4, the Caves of Death. I mean, the name says it all, but if you happen to be in Scotland and want to try something daring, then maybe go try out the Caves of Death. Archaeologists discovered this not too long ago and found that this was an ancient location used for human sacrifice, execution, and body disposal. So pretty much a good place all in all. Radiocarbon dating found masses of dismembered body parts, including children's head left on poles in front of the cave's entrance, which were left there 3,200 years ago. It's said that they did this because they treated this place as a shrine where they would leave those who passed away, wait for them to decompose, then collect the bones. Number 3, the Queen of Spades. Basically the Russian version of Bloody Mary. This supernatural being is said to grant wishes to anyone who suffers her, but at a price, of course. As the Joker once said, if you're good at something, never do it for free. To summon her, similar to Bloody Mary, you need to go in a dark room with a mirror and light a candle in front of it. Once you have that set up, you need to place a Queen of Hearts playing card right up against the mirror. You now need to draw a door with some stairs on the mirror. Now in the front of the mirror, you need to clear your mind and close your eyes and say Queen of Spades 3 times. While you're saying your name, visualize the queen opening the door and walking down the stairs from the lipstick drawing. This part is where many people report hearing evil laughter just before they encountered the Queen of Spades. Once she appears, you need to hold your candle and say your wish out loud. Once you're done, blow out your candle. Because if you don't, her spirit may come out through the window and stay in our world. Basically, chanting a name in a mirror doesn't have good implications in any culture. Number 2, the Chernobyl Black Bird. Just a few days before the infamous Chernobyl nuclear plant disaster, many workers at the plant reported seeing a large, dark, and mutated man with gigantic wings. This humanoid creature was given the name Black Bird of Chernobyl, and despite the fact that it had no head, it had piercing red eyes that would send chills to the spine of anyone caught looking. Before the nuclear disaster, workers claimed to have been plagued by terrifying dreams and many instances of bad luck. Fast forward to the day of the disaster, and now workers have reported seeing a large black bird-like creature with a 40-foot wingspan flying through the smoke of Chernobyl. Many people believe these creatures to be a bad omen since they are shown around history to appear before tragic events. Now this creature is nowhere to be found in the area, which makes many wondering what was truly haunting them at this famous nuclear plant. Number 1, the London Fog. On December 4th, 1952, smog began to cover all of London. The smog was present for 5 whole days and ended up leading to the passing of at least 4,000 people. On a regular Tuesday afternoon, a high-pressure air mass stalled over Thames Rural Valley. Suddenly, cold air came in from the west side and the air in London became trapped. The problem worsened by the low temperatures, which caused people living there to burn extra coal in their surfaces to keep warm. The smoke, soot, and sulfur dioxide from the area's industries, along with the stuff from cars and consumer energy usage, caused heavy smog to smother the entire city. By the morning of December 5th, it was visible across hundreds of square miles. It became so thick and dense that by December 7th, there was no sunlight, and visibility was down to only 5 yards in many places. Eventually, all transportation came to a halt, but not before the smog caused several train accidents, including a collision between 2 trains near the London Bridge. However, that wasn't the worst thing. The worst effect of the smog was the respiratory distress it caused in us humans and animals, including difficulty breathing and many people vomiting. A high number of people in the area, numbering in the thousands, passed away in their sleep that weekend alone. Now, it's a little crazy to me that all this happened and so many people ended up losing their lives, but I guess you can't really control Mother Nature when it comes down to stuff like this. At number 10 spot, we have the Tommyknockers. The legend of the Tommyknockers originates from the state of New Mexico. The legend follows a group of miners when they stumbled upon a strange and powerful object buried deep within the earth. As they began to excavate it, they were overcome by its strange energy, which transformed them into these bizarre, violent creatures. These creatures were known as the Tommyknockers and were infamous for their ability to knock on the walls and ceilings of mines, warning other miners to stay away. The legend goes on to say that the Tommyknockers were incredibly powerful, with superhuman strength and the ability to control the minds of those around them. They all roamed the mines, causing destruction and mayhem wherever they went. Despite their fearsome reputation, some believe that the Tommyknockers could be reasoned with, and attempted to communicate with them in order to understand their motivations. While some people, on the other hand, believe that the legend of the Tommyknockers is based on a real event that occurred in New Mexico, which had a bunch of trapped miners. However, others viewed a purely fictional tale. Over the years, many people have come forward to speak about their encounter with the Tommyknocker, which only adds to this creature's mystery more. At a number 9 spot, we have a witch's heart. The legend of the witch's heart in New Mexico tells the story of a powerful witch who lived in the forest near a small village. She was said to be able to cast spells and control the elements, and many people were afraid of her because of that. One day, the witch fell in love with a young man from the village, and she cast a spell on him to make him fall in love in return. The young man, however, did not want to be with this witch and tried to resist her spell at all costs. The witch became very angry and threatened to destroy the village if the young man did not return her love. Talk about needy. The villagers, who were afraid for their lives, pleaded with the young man to give in to the witch's demands, but the young man was brave and refused to give into it. Now the witch was extremely pissed, and she decided to cast a powerful spell that caused the ground to shake and the trees to sway. She summoned a storm that raged for 3 days and 3 nights, causing destruction and chaos throughout the entire village. Finally, the young man, with the help of other villagers, was able to confront the witch and break her spell. The witch's heart was filled with so much anger and hatred that it just turned to stone, and she was never seen again. The villagers say that if you listen closely on a stormy night, you can still hear the witch's heart beating beneath the ground, a reminder of the power of love and the dangers of anger and hatred. At a number 8 spot, we have Haunted Mesa. The legend of the Haunted Mesa in New Mexico dates back to the early 1800s. According to the legend, the Mesa was once home to a Native American tribe who lived in harmony with the land and its natural resources. But as time passed by, the tribe grew greedy and began to exploit the land. They would strip it of its resources and cause great harm to the environment because of it. As a punishment for their actions, the spirits of the land rose up and cursed the tribe, causing them to be consumed by a terrible darkness. The tribe was never seen again, and the Mesa has been haunted ever since by the spirits of the land. They are said to still roam the area at night, searching for those who dare to desecrate the land. Many people have reported strange and eerie occurrences on the Haunted Mesa, including ghostly apparitions, unexplained noises, and mysterious lights. Some have even claimed to see the ghosts of the Native American tribe still wandering the Mesa in search of redemption. Despite these stories, the Haunted Mesa remains a popular destination for hikers and adventurers who are drawn to its rugged beauty and eerie atmosphere. Some say the spirits of the land are still watching over the Mesa, protecting it from those who would seek to harm it. So if you hike here, stride carefully. At a number 7 spot, we have a Witch's Bridge. The Witch's Bridge is a legendary structure said to be located in New Mexico, although the exact location is unknown. According to the legend, the bridge was built by a woman who was shunned by the community because they believed she was a witch. The woman, who was determined to get her revenge, constructed this bridge using her own blood and bone, imbuing it with dark magic as well. As the story goes, anyone who crosses the bridge will be cursed with bad luck and misfortune for their entire lives. Some say that the bridge is guarded by the spirit of the witch, who emerges at night to haunt and terrorize hikers. Others believe that the curse can only be lifted by performing a complex ritual at the side of the bridge. Despite the legend, there is actually no evidence of a bridge matching the description in New Mexico. It is likely the story is a tall tale or a piece of folklore, rather than a true account of events. However, that does not stop people from being intrigued by the legend and people going out searching for this bridge. At a number 6 spot, we have a man in the black hat. The man in the black hat is a mysterious figure who is said to haunt the deserts of New Mexico. Some say that the man in the black hat was a gunfighter or a bandit who roamed the desert, preying on travelers and settlers who ventured too far from civilization. Others claim that he was a ghost or a spirit haunting the land and seeking revenge on those who had wronged him in life. Despite the many different variations of the legend, one thing remains constant. The man in the black hat was a fearsome and dangerous figure, feared by all those who came in contact with him. He is said to wear a black hat, a long coat, and a pair of guns by his side, and was said to be incredibly fast and extremely deadly with a gun. There's even one story of him single-handedly defeating a group of 10 raiders in less than a minute in an attempt to just save some settlers. Despite his heroic deeds, however, the man in the black hat was never seen again, and his fate remains a mystery to this day. Some say that he simply vanished into the deserts, never to be seen again, while others believe that he met his end at the hands of another enemy. Maybe he finally found peace and moved on to the afterlife. Haven't we thought about that? In the hump of our list, we have the hanging tree. The legend of the hanging tree in New Mexico dates back to the 1800s, when the area was a wild and lawless frontier. According to the legend, the hanging tree was a large tree located in the center of town, where criminals and outlaws were brought to justice by being hanged from its sturdy branches. The most famous story associated with the hanging tree is that of a notorious outlaw named Billy the Kid, who is said to have been hanged from the tree after being captured by a posse of vigilantes. Despite its reputation as a place of justice and punishment, the hanging tree was also said to be cursed, and many people believe that anyone who were hung from this tree would be doomed to haunt the town for eternity. Over the time, the tree became a symbol of fear and dread, and people avoided it at all costs, even during the day. Eventually, the town decided to cut down the hanging tree and burn it to the ground in an effort to rid the town of its dark history and the supposed curse that was said to be associated with it. Today, all that remains of the hanging tree is a small plaque on the spot where it once stood. At a number 4 spot, we have a witch's ladder. The legend of the witch's ladder in New Mexico tells the story of a powerful witch who lived in the mountains and was known for casting spells and curses on those who crossed her. One day, a group of travelers stumbled upon her cabin and asked for shelter for the night. The witch agreed, but she secretly cast a curse on them. Desperate to break the curse, the travelers sought help from a wise woman who told them that they must climb to the top of the mountain and gather a handful of the witch's hair in order to break the curse for good. The travelers managed to do this, but the witch chased after them using all of the spells she knew. Using the hair as a talisman, the travelers outran the witch and made their way back down the mountain, where they burned the hair and finally broke the curse. From that day on, the mountain was known as the Witch's Ladder. Despite the fact that the legend of the Witch's Ladder is just a story, it continues to be told and retold in the American Southwest, reminding us of the power and determination and the importance of standing up to those who seek to do us harm. At number 3 spot, we have the Curse of the Full Moon. The Curse of the Full Moon is a popular tale told to many in New Mexico, and it involves a powerful medicine man who placed a curse on the land to protect it from the actions of early European settlers. The legend goes that the medicine man was a powerful shaman who had the ability to communicate with the spirits of the land and the animals that lived there. He was deeply connected to the natural world, and he would have a great reverence for the land and its inhabitants. However, when the European settlers arrived, they began to disregard the sacredness of the land and its inhabitants. They would cut down trees, hunt down the animals, and they would pollute the waters. The medicine man was outraged by the settlers' actions, and he decided to curse the land with a very powerful spell. And whenever the moon was full, the curse was said to be at its strongest, causing even more misfortune for those who dared to defy the spirits. Over time, the legend became well known throughout the region, and this is when people began to fear the power of the spirits and the curse. At a number 2 spot, we have the ghost lights. The legend of the ghost lights in New Mexico dates back to the time of the Native Americans who inhabited the region. According to the legend, the ghost lights were spirits of the dead who roamed the earth in search of their loved ones. These spirits were said to be the souls of warriors who were killed in battle, or of women and children who had died of disease or other natural causes. The ghost lights were said to appear as glowing orbs of light that floated through the air, moving silently and without any apparent direction. Many people have claimed to have seen the ghost lights and described them as eerie and unsettling, and some even reported feeling a sense of fear or dread when the lights were present. Despite this, however, many people also found that the ghost lights to be fascinating and mysterious, and they often went out of their way to try and catch a glimpse of these elusive spirits. In the recent years, the legend of the ghost lights in New Mexico has taken on a new dimension, with some people claiming to have captured video footage or photographs of the light. So if you guys want to see, go search it up on Google, and I promise you, you'll find one photo with it. At a number 1 spot, we have the Taos hum. The Taos hum is a mysterious low-frequency sound that has been reported in the town of Taos, New Mexico. It is described as a faint droning sound that is similar to the hum of a distant engine or the drone of a bee. Some people claim to hear the hum constantly, while others hear it occasionally. The source of the Taos hum is unknown, and there are many theories about what could be causing it. Some believe that it is a natural phenomenon caused by geological activity or atmospheric conditions. Others speculate that it is the result of human activities such as underground military bases or secret experiments. One of the most popular theories of this is caused by aliens. According to the theory, the hum is a signal or communication from an extraterrestrial civilization. Some people even claim to have experienced strange encounters or sightings of unidentified flying objects in the area where the hum is heard. Despite the many theories, no one has been able to definitely explain the Taos hum. The phenomenon remains a mystery and continues to fascinate and intrigue those who have experienced it. Some even claim that the hum has a strange, almost hypnotic effect on those who hear it, causing them to feel disoriented or dizzy.